Hey everybody, welcome to day 17 of the Take Back Your Life video challenge. That's not really a challenge, more of a journey. 40 days of thinking right so that we can live right.
I think you probably spoke that correctly because today is a bit of a challenge for everybody.
Why is it a challenge?
Well, it's about our thoughts and flipping our thoughts from negative to positive.
Look at you taking it right into the material.
That's right.
First thing, no matter what. Well, it is. Today's Flip Your Thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to flip a table. We're going to flip some thoughts. Maybe we'll flip both.
Yeah.
So what is Flip Your Thoughts all about?
It is about the focus that we have in our daily life. Are we focusing on all the things that have went wrong, or are we focusing on the things that are right?
Right. So positive thinking.
Yes.
Isn't that like karma, or isn't that one of those things that's like frowned upon in the church?
It is. And it is because people don't really understand what it is. So we're not talking woo-woo positive thinking, the name it and claim it. We're talking about exactly what we're commanded to do. Rejoicing always, being joyful, and making sure that we're focusing on the things that God has told us to focus on.
And that's today's verse. Rejoice always. 1 Thessalonians 5:16 says it right there in the Bible. Rejoice in all situations.
Mm-hmm. And I love how Pastor talks about that. It is not that we're going to be happy about all situations or that we're going to rejoice about the situation, but we're called to rejoice in it.
It's one thing to understand the difference between just being all giddy and everything's great, and understanding that God has a purpose in every single situation that we find ourselves in, and it's up to us to choose to rejoice and to find that peace and happiness within the constraints, confines, within the context of the fact that God wants good things for us. It took me a few tries, but I finally got to the word I was looking for.
You got there. You were coming up with other words.
I was trying to figure my way through. Sometimes you got to fumble around a little bit, but eventually you'll find your way through.
Yeah. So how have you thought about positive thinking in your life?
Oh, I don't know. I think over the course of my life, I've really just not put a whole lot of thought into it. I sort of taken the easy road out, maybe just sort of given it the old, it's just the way I am, or this is just this, or whatever. Sort of taking life as it comes. We talked about that a little bit yesterday.
Yeah.
But one thing that we have discovered, and one thing that seems to be true, and is, I think, to some degree been proven to be true, that what you focus on expands.
Yes. You have, I think they say 2 million different stimuli coming at you at any given moment. And your mind has to decide what it wants to pay attention to. And so in that, whenever you start saying things and say them out loud, say positive things, then your mind will start going, oh, that's what you want to focus on. So I'm going to start showing you those things.
So what is the thing?
The RAS, it's the reticular activating system.
Yeah. And so you've noticed, like, let's say you're going to look for a new car and you pick a Jeep Wrangler. And then all of a sudden, as you're driving home from the dealership, after you've looked at this Jeep Wrangler, that's all you see on the highway. It's like, man, everybody went out and got a Jeep Wrangler. But that's not necessarily the case. There's the same amount of people driving Jeep Wranglers as there was before you decided that you wanted one. Mm-hmm. But now you see it because that's what your mind is looking for. I can remember when we got our camper and we had started looking at a toy hauler fifth wheel. And I mean, I saw them everywhere. And it's not that there was that many more on the road. It's just that's what I saw because that's what I was looking for.
And once we started looking for them, it was fun because I'd say, look, those are our people. And he's just like, oh, whatever.
And it's easy to do it with stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It's a little more difficult to do it whenever you look in the mirror and you maybe are frustrated with the way you look. But it's just like we talked with Reagan last night about find one thing.
Yes.
Find one thing to start being positive about when you do that.
Most deep things start very shallow. They start with that one thing. And then, God is a God of multiplication, and he doesn't just add things to it. He exponentially increases it.
Along the lines of finding that one thing is remembering that leading a life of negative thoughts cannot lead to a positive outcome. So again, even if we're talking about just that one thing, you must be able to start somewhere, because if everything that you see is negative, it's not going to make.
Your mind's going to bring more of it to you.
Yeah.
Because that's what you've told it is important.
Mm-hmm. So we got to make sure that we are keeping our eyes focused on the things that we want to see happen in our lives, not the things that we're reacting to. More often than not, we react negatively, and we look for or anticipate maybe more positively.
I think that's a situational thing. I think that, and I also think that it's something that we, unfortunately, as a society, maybe train out of our kids.
Well, it's like Pastor said in the reading today. You don't wake up saying, I want to have a bad day. I want to rob somebody of their self-esteem, or I want to take somebody else's joy away. So that's sort of what I mean by when you look forward, you anticipate the best things to come at you. I want to have a good day. I want to have meaningful relationships with my coworkers. I want to have meaningful relationships with my family. But ultimately, things get in the way sometimes, and we let the external things that come at us rob us.
Yeah. And you have to be willing to be a person of action. So whenever you say, I want to have a good relationship with my coworkers, that means that you're probably going to do something for them that day, whether it is just start a conversation or ask how they're doing or engage them in some way. Because I think we know that familiarity is the killer of us being able to see something for what it is, because you just don't see it. You've looked at it so many times that it's no longer a wonder to you. Your mind isn't looking for what's that next thing.
One thing that we have to look out for in this, positive thinking is good and we should move forward, but one thing that Pastor reminds us is that we need to factor in opposition. One of the things that's going to happen, the more positively you speak, the more positively you see things, more often than not, you're going to have opposition come against you, because it's just not the normal way to think.
And misery loves company. So the more that you push towards the positive, people that are stuck in that negative mindset, they may try to bring you down. And you have to continue with your conviction and just keep moving forward. It's not up to you to change them. You got to leave it to God.
So, what was the shirt that you had back in the day?
It was a shirt that it said, what you focus on expands.
I thought it was funny because it was right across her chest. And
yeah.
I'm like a little boy at heart, so when I saw that, I pointed and laughed.
Yeah. I don't think it was well thought out. Or a guy thought this is a good deal.
Yeah. So remember that today's verse, rejoice always, 1 Thessalonians 5:16. In all things, find a way to rejoice. Find a way to look for the good that's going to come from it, that may come through it, that you may learn in the situation. There's always something good that can come out of any situation, no matter how dark it may seem. God is a God that promises that he wants to bless us. He wants to give us a life to the fullest. And it's hard to imagine sometimes whenever we face the world that we live in, because it's a broken world.
It is a broken world. Whenever you start to look for the good in a situation, you typically have to look outside of yourself. So you've got to look and see how that is being affected in the world. That is where the brokenness starts to heal. All
right. So that's day 17. Quick and easy. We're going to flip some things. We're going to flip some tables. We're going to flip some thoughts. We're going to be positive. We're going to look for the good in things. And we are going to, above all, rejoice in all situations.
Yes, we are. Tomorrow, we're going to mind our words.
Mind our words. All right, everybody. Thanks for being a part of the channel. These are going to start to move a whole lot faster now that we've been into this for 17 days. It's becoming more of a habit for you. It's becoming more of a habit for us. And I hope that you are prepared to finish strong as we close out 2020 and we head into 2021. Also, be thinking about the word that God has for you for 2021. What has He impressed upon your heart that He might want to show you, that He might want to work on inside you over the next 365 days? So, be thinking about what your word for 2021 is. If you come up with it, hang on to it. Maybe we'll do towards the end of the year a little reveal. Have everybody put it in the chat. So, it's not really a chat, it's more comments because these aren't live. I'm sort of channeling my inner Stephen Furtick.
Whenever he came out in that shirt, I thought,
Let's put it in the chat.
Christmas.
This is a pretty funny shirt. So, anyway, guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Have an amazing day.